the 1984 PG.
Yeah.
Nice.
Basically like a hard R.
So they still have the ghost oral sex in here. I apologize.
Ooh.
Oh, that's right.
That
It's in a whole different scene. It's really weird still, yeah.
Whatever can fly in the quiet
You can
break
tell
room.
Dan Aykroyd wrote the script because he gives himself a ghost BJ. So,
Oh, looking forward to that.
like, Dan, do we really need this? Yes.
It's necessary.
It's like, trust me, it's necessary to the story.
Trust me, it's very important to the plot.
We got it. We have no Ghostbusters if we don't have this scene. I don't know what else to tell you. Like,
Yeah.
Alrighty, shall we begin?
Do it.
Let's do it.
Okay, Ghostbusters by Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd.
Ooh.
Exterior of the New York Public Library at day. On the front steps, a few people lounge on the steps flanked by the familiar stone lions. Inside, people are dotted throughout the room, sitting at the long oak tables polished by decades of use. The librarian, a slightly stout, studious-looking girl in her late 20s, circulates quietly among the tables, picking up books and putting them on her cart. Everything seems completely normal and peaceful. The librarian is alone in a back room sorting books for reshelving. Behind her is the card catalog. One of the books attracts her interest and she starts leafing through it. Another eerie note is heard as one of the drawers silently slides open behind the librarian and hundreds of index cards start popping out. The librarian continues, reading completely oblivious to this strange phenomena. She gets up and moves past another row of cabinets. More drawers quietly slide open and thousands of file cards start shooting out of the open drawers just behind her, but the librarian still doesn't notice. The librarian works her way through rows and rows of old iron shelves containing many thousands of volumes stacked from floor to ceiling. As she puts the books back in their proper places, she slowly gets the feeling that she's being watched. She continues her task, but suddenly hears a scratching noise and stops.
Hello? Is anybody there?
As the librarian walks down the aisle, books start shooting off the shelf behind her. She turns suddenly and sees the fallen books. Frightened, she walks slowly to the end of the aisle and tentatively peeks around the corner. Seeing no one, she starts to scratch her head and suddenly a dozen books fly off the shelf right in front of her and fall to the floor.
All right, who's there? Lyle? Is that you?
The librarian tiptoes to the other end of the aisle. She gets to the corner and starts to peek around it, afraid to look, but unable to resist. The librarian comes slowly around the end of the stacks and gets her first look at the thing that's been watching her. Her eyes go very wide and her mouth opens in horror. She screams.
Very good.
At one end of the dingy corridor is a door marked Paranormal Studies Laboratory. A sign dangles from the doorknob. Scrawled across the door is a line of student graffiti that reads, Venkman, burn in hell. It looks like it's been written in blood.
Now I'm going to turn over the next card and I want you to concentrate and tell me what you think it is.
Dr. Peter Venkman is administering an ESP test to two student volunteers, a boy and a girl, who sit across the table from him, separated from each other. Venkman is an associate professor, but his rumpled suit and the manic gleam in his eye indicate an underlying instability in his nature. However, while a little short on academic credentials, Venkman is long on confidence, charm, and salesmanship. He turns to the male volunteer, an obnoxious sophomore, and pulls out a card from the standard deck of these symbols. The card is visible to the camera over Venkman's shoulder, but hidden to the sophomore by a masonite board that resonates between them on the table. The card shows a star symbol on it.
All right, what is it?
A square?
Good guess, but no.
We show the sophomore the star, then presses a button on the table, which administers a mild electric shock to the volunteer. The sophomore twitches involuntarily as the shock passes through the to his fingers. female volunteer, a very beautiful co-ed.
Now just clear your mind and tell me what you see.
Is it a star?
It is a star. That's great. You're very good.
The co-ed beamed loudly as Venkman turned to sophomore without showing her the card.
Now think.
Circle.
Close, but definitely wrong. Jack, I can't hear you, I don't think, maybe.
Can you hear me?
No, no, we can.
Okay. Ready? What is it?
It swivels around. Co-ed. A figure eight?
Incredible. 5 for 5. You're not cheating me on you, are you here?
No, they're just coming to me.
Well, you're doing great. Keep it up.
He turns back to the sophomore who winces as the next card is turned up. 2 parallel wavy lines.
Nervous?
Yes. I don't like this.
Well, just 75 more to go. What's this one?
2 wavy lines.
Sorry, this isn't your day.
Hey, I'm getting a little tired of this.
You volunteered, didn't you? Aren't we paying you for this?
Yeah, but I didn't know you were gonna give me an electric shocks. Like, what are you trying to prove?
I'm setting the effect of negative reinforcement on ESP ability.
The effect? It pisses me off.
And my theory was correct.
The
Keep the
sophomore,
$5. I've had it.
Well, I guess some people have it and some don't.
do you think I have it, Dr. Venkman?
Definitely. I think you may be a very gifted telepath.
Suddenly, the door opens and Ray Stantz enters. Ray is Venkman's colleague and best friend, a hard scientist with a good academic background.
Drop everything, Venkman. We got one.
He starts rumping through cabinets and drawers, gathering up a variety of electronic devices.
Excuse me for a minute. Ray, I'm right in the middle of something here. Can you come back in about an hour?
Peter, at 1:40 this afternoon at the main branch of the New York Public Library on 5th Avenue, 10 people witnessed a free-roaming, vaporous, full-torso apparition. It blew books from shelves at 20 feet away, scared the socks off some poor librarian.
Sure, that's great, Ray. I think you should get down there right away and check it out. Let me know what happens.
No, this one's for real, Peter. Spengler went down there and took some PKE readings. Right off the top of the scale, buried the needle. We're close to this time. I can feel it.
Okay, just give me a second here. I have to leave now, but if you've got some time, I'd like you to come back this evening and do some more work with me.
8 o'clock.
I was just going to say 8 o'clock. You're fantastic.
Exterior of the public library at day. Venkman and Stantz arrive in a taxi and trot up the front steps. Stantz is loaded down with equipment.
Spengler and I have charted every psychic occurrence in the tri-state area for the past 2 years. The graph we came up with definitely points to something big.
Ray, as your friend, I have to tell you, I think you've really gone around the bend on this ghost stuff. You've been running your ass off for 2 years, checking out every schizo in the 5 boroughs who thinks he's had an experience. And what have you seen?
What do you mean by seen?
Looked at with your eyes.
Well, I was at an unexplained multiple high-altitude rockfall once.
Uh-huh. I've heard about the rockfall, Ray. I think you've been spending too much time with Spangler.
Interior of the main reading room. Egon Spengler is looking for spirits when Venkman and Stantz arrive. Spengler is a real egghead, a new wave Mr. Spock, who single-handedly got Venkman through graduate school. Spengler is incredibly intelligent, amazingly dense at the same time. At the moment, he is listening to a table using a stethoscope connected to the stereo earphones. Venkman comes up behind him and taps on the table to get his attention.
Egon? Egon?
Oh, you're here.
What have you got, Egon?
Oh, this is big, Peter. This is very big. There's something happening here.
Egon, some of this reminds me of the time you tried to drill a hole in your head. Do you remember that?
The head librarian, a choleric middle-aged civil servant, Mr. Delacourt, hurries over to meet them.
I am Roger, the head librarian. Are you the man from the university?
Yes, I'm Dr. Venkman. This is Dr. Stantz.
Thank you for coming. I'd appreciate it if we could take care of this quickly and quietly.
One thing at a time. We don't even know what it is yet.
Interior, an office of an office a little later. Venkman is questioning the plump librarian who saw the spirit, while a paramedic continues treating her for shock.
I don't remember seeing any legs, but it definitely had arms because it reached for me.
Arms? Great! I can't wait to get a look at this thing.
All right, miss. Have you or any member of your family ever been diagnosed schizophrenic or mentally incompetent?
Well, my uncle thought he was Saint Jerome.
I'll call that a big yes. You yourself habitually use drugs, stimulants, or alcohol?
No.
I thought not. And one last thing. Are you currently menstruating?
What's that got to do with it?
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
It's moving.
Interior deep in the stacks at day. They come slowly down the dark aisle with Spengler leading, taking constant readings. Their faces are lit mainly by the light of their own monitoring and recording equipment. Looking down on them from the special point of view. A spiral staircase, one by one. Venkman, Stans, and Spengler come down the tight, winding, old iron staircase. They are scared. Books are strewn all over the floor. The books start to slide forward. Then the whole shelving unit topples over and almost crushes the team under a ton of books. They jump to safety.
Nice. Hello?
Spengler looks at his meters and silently points at the dark aisle.
It's here.
Interior of a dark aisle. The team peeks around the corner and looks towards the camera. An ethereal presence is hovering between the stacks, about 4 feet off the ground. It seems to waver on the edge of being a non-being. Then large, legless, headless torso begins to emerge. They stand there amazed.
What is it?
Looks like a big pair of breasts and a pot belly.
A head and arms begin to form. The apparition is now unmistakably full-bodied, somewhat elderly.
It's a woman.
I told you it's real.
What do we do now?
I don't know. Talk to it.
What do I say?
Anything. Just make contact.
Hey, lady. Lady, can you talk? Who are you? This isn't working. Think of something else.
Okay. I got it. I know what to do. Stay close. I have a plan.
He starts moving closer to the ghost. Venkman and Spengler edge closer, fighting their fear. They stop just a few feet from the vision.
Okay. Now do exactly as I say. Everybody ready?
Ready.
Okay. Get her!
Venkman and Spengler jump reflexively at almost the same moment, but they all end up on the floor, grabbing at the air. The ghost drops back a few feet, looms up into a raging demon-like specter, blasts them with a rush of hot breath as she mouths a single word.
Ugh.
They burst through the doors and onto the broad steps, both terrified and exhilarated by their first real contact with the supernatural. The head librarian rushes out of the door after them and chases them down the steps.
Did you see it? What was it?
We'll get back to you.
Exterior of Columbia University. Venkman, Stans, and Spengler head for their lab in Weaver Hall. Spengler makes rapid circulations as Venkman and Stans argue. The calculation.
Get her.
I have dyslexia, you guys, by the way.
Get her? That was your whole plan? You call that science?
I guess I got a little overexcited. Wasn't it incredible? I'm telling you, this is a first. You know what this could mean to the university?
Oh yeah, this could be bigger than the microchip. They'll probably throw out the entire engineering department and turn their building over to us. We're probably the first serious scientists to ever molest a dead old lady.
I wouldn't say the experience was completely wasted. Based on these new readings, I think we have an excellent chance of actually catching a ghost and holding it indefinitely.
Venkman stops in his tracks, stunned by the news.
And we were right. This is great. And if the ionization rate is constant for all ectoplasmic entities, I think we could really kick ass in the spiritual sense.
Spengler, are you serious about actually catching a ghost?
I'm always serious.
Wow.
Exterior of Weaver Hall. They approach the entrance to the psychology department, talking excitedly. Venkman stops at the door and turns to Spengler.
Egon, I'm going to take back everything I ever said about you. Take this. You earned it.
They enter the building, interior of Weaver Hall. They walk through the hall, then down the stairs to the basement.
You guys are right. If we can actually trap a ghost and hold it somehow, I think I could win the Nobel Prize.
If anyone deserves it, it's Spengler and me. We're doing all the hard research and designing the equipment.
Yeah, but I introduced you guys. You never would have met if not for me. That's got to be worth something.
Interior of the basement. A workman in painter pants is at the door as Venkman, Stantz, and Spengler approach and enter the lab. As soon as the door closes behind them, the workman starts scraping their names off the door with a razor blade. Interior of the lab. As they enter, janitorial and maintenance personnel are busy dismantling their apparatus and equipment. Dean Yeager is supervising. Venkman confronts him.
I trust you're moving us to a better space somewhere on campus.
No, we're moving you off campus. The Board of Regents has decided to terminate your grant. You are to vacate these premises immediately.
This is preposterous. I demand an explanation.
Fine. This university will no longer continue any funding of any kind of your group activities.
But why? The students love us.
Dr. Venkman, we believe that the purpose of science is to serve mankind. You, however, seem to regard science as some kind of dodge or hustle. Your theories are the worst kind of popular tripe, your methods are sloppy, and your conclusions are highly questionable. You're a poor scientist, Dr. Venkman, and you have no place in this department or in this university.
I see.
You said you floored him at the Regents meeting.
Hey, I apologize. I guess my confidence in the Regents was misplaced. They did this to Galileo, too.
It could be worse, Dr. Venkman. They took the astronomer Phileas and staked his head to the town gate.
Exterior of Columbia University. Stantz and Venkman are sitting on the beach, on the bench, both looking desolate.
This is like a major disgrace. Forget MIT or Stanford now. They wouldn't touch us with a 3-meter cattle prod.
You're always so worried about your reputation. We don't need the university. Einstein did his best work while he was working as a patent clerk. They can't stop progress.
Do you know what a patent clerk makes? I like the university. They gave us money. They gave us the facilities, and we didn't have to produce anything. I worked in the private sector. They expect results. You've never been out of college. You don't know what it's like out there.
Let me tell you, Ray, everything in life happens for a reason. Call it fate, call it luck, karma, whatever. I think we're destined to get kicked out of there.
For what purpose?
Go into business for ourselves.
Stantz is immediately intrigued by the idea, but voices his reservation.
I don't know. That costs money. And the ecto-containment system we have in mind will require a load of bread to capitalize. Where do we get the money?
A wide-angle view of Manhattan and the Avenue of the Americas. Venkman, Stantz, and Spengler emerge from the Irving Trust headquarters, all neatly dressed in suits.
You'll never regret this, Ray.
My parents left me that house. I was born there.
You're not going to lose the house. Everybody has 3 mortgages these days.
But at 19% interest, you don't even bargain with the guy.
Just for your information, Ray, the interest payments for the first 5 years alone come to over $75,000.
You guys relax. We are on the threshold of establishing the indispensable defense science of the next decade, professional paranormal investigations and eliminations. The franchise rights alone will make us wealthy beyond your wildest dreams.
But most people are afraid to even report these things.
But no one ever advertised before.
Exterior of Fire Hall. An abandoned brick, 4-story high station built by the city around the turn of the century. It bears a coat and faded red paint and legend above the garage door in chipped gilt letters. Engine company number 93. The garage door opens, revealing Venkman standing in the white tiled garage with a middle-aged real estate woman wearing a blazer. Interior of the garage at day. Venkman's looking around. Besides this, you've got another substantial work area on the ground floor, office space, sleeping quarters, and showers on the next floor. And you have your full kitchen on the top level. It's 10,000 square feet in total.
It's 9,642.55 square feet.
Your accountant.
Oh. Wow, does this poll still work?
This might do. I don't know. It just seems kind of pricey for a fixer-upper, don't you think? We're trying to keep our costs down. You know how it is when you're starting a new company.
Yes, I know.
Ghostbusters.
Oh, well, this place is perfect for it. On the Upper West Side, a high panoramic view of the city shows heavy traffic moving up and down Central Park West on a beautiful sunny day. 78th and Central Park West, an unusual pre-war Gothic high-rise, towers over the neighborhood buildings. The top of the buildings include an elaborate decorative temple, complete with altar, stairs, and Babylonian columns. The late afternoon sun gives the structure an oddly menacing quality. The camera pans slowly down the street as Dana Barrett, an attractive woman in her late 20s, comes walking up to the building carrying a cello case and a shopping bag full of groceries. Guys on the street check her out as she enters, but she coolly ignores them. The high-rise apartment building. Dana crosses the lobby and gets into the elevator. Dana gets off the elevator and goes to the door of her apartments. As she unlocks it, the door to the next apartment opens. Louis Tully peeks his head out of the door. Louis is a shy nerd, hopelessly in love with Dana.
Oh, Dana, it's you.
Hi, Louis.
I thought it was the drugstore.
Are you sick, Louis?
Louis has broken the ice. He confidentially exits his apartment and approaches Dana.
Oh no, I feel great. It's just I ordered some more vitamins. I see you were exercising. So was I. I taped 20-minute workout and played it back at high speed, so it only took 10 minutes and I got really good workout. You want to have a mineral water with me?
No, thanks, Louis. I'm really tired. I've been rehearsing all morning.
Okay, I'll take a rain check. I always have plenty of mineral water and there's nutritious health foods, but you know that. Listen, that reminds me, I'm having a party for all of my clients. It's going to be my 4th anniversary as an accountant. I know you fill out your own tax returns, which you shouldn't do. I'd like to come over being that you're my next door neighbor and all.
Oh, that's nice, Louis. I'll stop by if I'm around.
You know you shouldn't leave your TV on so loud when you go out. That creep down the hall phoned the manager.
I thought I turned it off. I guess I forgot.
I climbed on the window ledge to see if I could disconnect the cable, but I couldn't reach. So I turned up the sound real loud on my TV so they think it was something wrong with everybody's TV. You know, you and I should really have keys to each other's apartment.
Oh.
The door closes, leaving Louis stranded.
In case of emergencies, like this one.
Dana's apartment, a roomy 2-bedroom flat with a great view of the park. She leaves the cello in the entrance hall, grabs the bag of groceries, and goes through the living room towards the kitchen. Remembering Louis, she stops at the TV set to turn it off, but a strange image on the screen catches her attention. On the TV screen, the interior of a children's bedroom, 2 children, a boy and a girl, are asleep in bed when suddenly they are awakened by supernatural moaning and groaning. Ooh. They scream and jump in bed. Their mother and father rush in to find the children cowering against the wall. Who is it? What's wrong?
Look.
Oh dear, it's that darn ghost again. Can't you do something about it?
I've tried everything, honey. I guess we'll just have to move.
Gee, there must be a better way.
Are you troubled by strange noises in the night? You experience feelings of dread in your basement or attic. Have you or your family actually seen a spook, specter, or ghost? If the answer is yes, then don't wait another minute. Just pick up the phone and call the professionals. Ghostbusters.
Venkman stands and Speckler standing in front of the Ghostbusters sign. Spengler steps forward.
Our courteous and efficient staff is on call 24 hours a day to serve all your supernatural elimination needs.
Interior of the reception area, Janine is being answered the telephone with a big fake smile on her face.
Ghostbusters will be right there.
Spengler is taking PKE readings along the baseboard. Stans pops up from under the bed.
Got him. I don't think I'll have any more trouble with that ghost.
And it's economical, too.
How can we ever thank you?
All in a day's work, ma'am. After all, we're Ghostbusters.
Other father and kids say goodbye to the Ghostbusters. If you ever have a ghost, you don't want to play host. You can't stop. You can't sleep at all. So who do you call? Ghostbusters.
Oh God.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Interior of the kitchen. Dana switches on the radio and starts unpacking her groceries. She sets a loaf of bread on a carton of eggs on the counter and begins putting other items away in the pantry. The top of the carton of eggs pops open. Then, one by one, the eggs erupt and spill over onto the counter. As the liquid contents hit the countertop, they sizzle. The eggs begin to fry on their formica surface. She hears the sizzle and turns to see the eggs frying. Dana hears the sound of muffled chanting coming up from the fridge. She pulls the door open and gets the shock of her life. The inside of the fridge has been transformed into the gateway to another realm, a fiery path leading to a temple door. On each side of the door is a strange, snarling creature that could best be described as a terror dog. Their front claws are raised toward each other. In a symbolic pose, the incredible vision is accompanied by the unearthly chanting.
Zool.
The chanting gets more frenetic and ominous as the temple doors slowly begin to open. She's paralyzed. They continue to open. We feel a terrible presence within.
Zool.
I don't want to scream really loud. There's neighbors.
That's okay.
Those back neighbors suck. Who cares?
I know. She screams and slams the refrigerator door. Instantly, everything is normal again. She looks around the room. They are back in the carton. The eggs are back in the carton unbroken. Fighting her fear, she turns back to the fridge and very slowly reaches for the handle. Then, summoning all of her courage, she yanks open the door. Ketchup, mustard, bottles of vitamins, and other food items fall out of the rack on the inside of the refrigerator door. Dana sighs with relief as she sees nothing but the cool white porcelain interior of the fridge. She closes the door and stands there for a moment, still shaken by the vision. Then she shakes her head and leaves the kitchen. The fire hall at day. The garage bay door opens. Two painters on scaffolding are completing a paint job on the front of the structure in flat blackness. A carpenter finishes hanging a sign over the door. It reads, Ghostbusters. Then comes driving up in a very long gold 1959 Cadillac ambulance and turns into the garage bay of the fire hall. The car has a battered look to it and rumbles noisily due to a broken muffler. In the interior of the garage, Stans hits the siren and flashes the emergency lights as he drives in. Venkman crosses to the car and Stans jumps enthusiastically.
Everybody can relax. I found the car. How do you like it?
Do you think it's wide enough? How much?
1,400. Just needs a little suspension work and a muffler and maybe brakes.
The reception area at day. Janine Melman sits in a swirl chair behind the reception desk, putting on another coat of red nail polish. Spengler is on his hands and knees, wiring up the telephone system.
You're very handy, I can tell. I bet you like to read a lot, too.
Brent is dead.
That's very fascinating to me. I read a lot myself. Some people think I'm too intellectual, but I think reading is a fabulous way to spend your spare time. I also play racquetball. Do you ever play?
Is that a game?
It's a great game. You should play sometime. I bet you'd be good. You seem very athletic. Do you have any hobbies?
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
Oh, that's very unusual.
I think it's the food of the future.
Remind me not to go to lunch with you.
Dana Barrett enters and looks around hesitantly. Venkman springs into action.
Hello, I'm Peter Venkman. May I help you?
Yes. Well, I'm not sure. What I have to say may sound a little unusual.
We're all professionals here, miss.
Barrett, Dana Barrett.
Why don't you step into the office and we'll talk about it? Hold all my calls, Janine.
What calls?
Insert a TV monitor. Dana is seen in close-up on a TV screen as she finishes telling about her experience.
And then I opened the door again, but it was gone. There was nothing there.
So what do you think it was?
Dana is hooked up to a lie detector. Spengler is monitoring the readout and videotaping the interview. Venkman and Stans are listening intently, waiting for Dana's assessment of her experience.
I think something in my refrigerator is trying to get me.
Generally, you don't see that kind of behavior in a major appliance. What do you think, Egon?
She's telling the truth, or at least she thinks she is.
Why would anyone make up anything like that?
Some people like the attention. Some people are just crazy.
You know, Peter, this could be a past life experience intruding on the present.
Or even a race memory stored in the collective unconscious. And I wouldn't rule out clairvoyance or telepathic contact either.
I'm sorry. It's just that I don't believe in any of these things. I don't even know my sign.
You're a Scorpio with your moon in Leo and Aquarius rising.
Is that good?
It means you're bright, ambitious, outgoing, and very, very sexy.
Ooh.
Is that your professional opinion?
It's in the stars.
Why don't I check out the building? It may have a history of psychic turbulence.
Yeah, good idea. Were any other words spoken that you remember?
No, just that one word, Zool, but I have no idea what it means.
Spangler, see if you can find the word Zool in any of the literature. I'll take Miss Barrett back to her apartment and check her out. I'll go check out Miss Barrett's apartment.
Yeah.
To Dana's apartment. The door opens and Dana enters the darkened flat with Venkman, switches on the light and leads him to the living room.
Have you ever thought of moving out, at least until this disturbance blows over?
No, if I moved out now, I'd be acknowledging what was happening was real. I'm not ready to do that.
Play the cello. It's my favorite instrument.
Really? Do you have a favorite piece?
Oh, I'd have to say Prokofiev's Third Concerto.
That's a violin concerto.
Yeah, but it's got a great cello break.
You really don't act like a scientist.
Now, what do I act like?
Like a used car salesman?
Thanks. What's in there?
That's the bedroom. Nothing ever happened in there.
That's too bad.
What?
Nothing. Is that the kitchen?
Uh-huh.
Let's check it out.
I'll wait here if you don't mind.
The interior of the kitchen. The room is a real mess. Utensils are lying all over the floor. The cabinets and walls are splattered with food.
You're quite a housekeeper.
I told you
I know. It happened by itself. Nothing. Damn.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
In the living room, Dana stands nervously watching the kitchen door. Finally, it opens and Venkman comes out munching on an apple.
Well, there's nothing there now, and I don't get any significant readings.
This is terrible. Either there's a monster in my kitchen or I'm completely crazy.
I don't think you're crazy.
Thanks. That was weird. Coming from you, that really means a lot to me.
I'm a qualified psychologist. I've got a degree in everything. I believe that something happened here, and I want to do something about it.
All right. What do you want to do?
I think I should spend the night here.
That's it. Get out.
On a purely scientific basis.
Out.
I want to help you.
I'll scream.
Don't scream.
Then leave.
Okay, but if anything else happens, you have to promise you'll call me.
All right.
Okay, and I'll go.
Goodbye.
No kiss?
The hallway at day. Venkman stands there with his nose flattened against Dana's door. He starts to leave just as Louis Tully pokes his head out, hoping to see Dana. He jealously eyes Venkman. Venkman ignores Louis and gets on the elevator. Louis spots his newspaper lying on the floor across the hall. Holding the door open with one foot, he reaches for the paper but can't quite stretch far enough. Trying another approach, he swings the door open, leaps for the paper, and darts back to the door just as it slams shut in his face, locking him out again. The interior of the fire hall kitchen. Stan and Spengler are eating Chinese food with several takeout from several dinners. Venkman enters.
How was your date?
Wasn't a date, it was an investigation.
Did you see anything?
Didn't see anything, didn't get anything. Nice girl, no ghost. I'm starting to worry. You said your graph was pointing to something big. You told me things were going to start popping.
They will.
You know when that might be? We're on the brink of a very serious cash flow problem.
The exterior of the Hotel Sedgwick at night. Two uniformed doormen help people in and out of taxis and limos under the hotel's elegant awning. The interior of the hotel at night. Do not disturb hangs on the doorknob of room 1210. Soft music is heard coming from the room.
Oh.
In the interior of room 1210 at night, the room is dark, but we can hear the sighs and heavy breathing of a man and woman making love on the bed. The camera pans across the floor, following a trail of dropped clothing, a tuxedo jacket and cummerbund, white satin high heels, a lacy wedding gown, striped tuxedo trousers, satin ladies' underpants, stockings, and garters.
Aren't you glad we waited?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't have been the same.
Well, thanks a lot. What are you doing? Are you just going to roll over and go to sleep? I don't believe this.
The air vent. There is a throbbing shudder as if something powerful was rushing through the air duct. A hint of yellowy vapor wafts through the grating and into the room. The nightstand. The travel clock reads 9:45 p.m. Suddenly, there's an audible hiss. Then the glass clock face cracks down the middle. Suddenly, there's an audible hiss. Then the glass clock face cracks down the middle with a snap. The bride, startled, looks at the clock and picks it up to examine it.
Roy, your clock broke.
Nice going, honey. It was brand new.
Didn't break your precious clock, Roy. Now where are you going?
To the bathroom. What do you think?
Have I done the right thing?
No.
Oh my God.
I think they cut this.
Behind him. The sound of water running in the sink is heard. Then the bride hears a sound like the noise of a cat when trying to dislodge a hairball from its throat.
Ew.
Where's Starbuck? We need Starbuck. There he is.
He's like, why did you do that?
Roy, are you all right? Hey, sweetheart, can you cut it out?
Ah!
What's the matter, dear?
She gets out of bed just as he comes charging out, stuttering in stunned horror. She goes into the bathroom.
What did you do in here? It smells awful. Oh, Oh no. Oh my God.
Right. Smelling up the whole suite. I don't know. It's just hanging off the ceiling. I've never seen anything like this. 12:10. Quick.
The interior of the fire hall office at night. Janine turns off the light at her desk. She packs up her purse and puts on her coat. The phone rings. Janine answers it unenthusiastically.
Ghostbusters. Yes, it is. Yes, of course they're serious. You do? You have? Yes, sir. Well, they're out on another case now, but if you'll give me the address, don't worry, they'll be totally discreet. We got one!
The interior of the kitchen at night. The alarm sounds and everyone jumps up, scattering takeout cartons. The alarm continues. Everyone enters in haste and scrambles into jumpsuits. There is much hopping on one leg and bumping into another.
Humping. I like humping.
Yeah.
Fully suited Venkman jumps on and slides down, followed quickly by Spengler. The stands unsadded, but hits it at the wrong angle. He slowly slides down, out of sight, with a stunned look on his face. The interior of the garage, equipment racks at night. Everyone pulls throwers, traps, packs, and harnesses off the wall. The garage door slides up, and in a blaze of light and screeching tires, the ambulance squeals out and makes a right turn. The vehicle has been painted flat. They get to the hotel.
Yeah.
Venkman looks ill at ease and embarrassed by their outlandish get-ups as the hotel manager descends on them, accompanied by a Slavic maintenance man and worried bell captain.
Thank you for coming so quickly. The guests are starting to ask questions. I'm running out of excuses.
Has this ever happened before?
Well, most of the original staff knows about the 12th floor, the disturbances, I mean, but it's been quiet for years, up until 2 weeks ago. It was never ever this bad though.
Did you ever report it to anyone?
No, the owners don't like us to even talk about it. I hope we can take care of this quietly tonight.
Yes, sir. Don't worry. We handle this kind of thing all the time.
They cross the lobby to the elevators, attracting lots of curious interest from the hotel guests. A guest accosts Venkman while they wait for an elevator.
What are you supposed to be?
Oh, me? We're the exterminators. Somebody saw a cockroach on the 12th floor.
It's gotta be some cockroach.
Well, you can't be too careful with those babies.
Interior of the elevator. The Ghostbusters look nervous as they ride up.
I just realized something. We've never had a completely successful test with any of this equipment.
I blame myself.
So do I.
No sense worrying about it now.
Sure, each of us is wearing an unlicensed nuclear accelerator on our back. No problem.
The elevator stops on the 12th floor. The elevator doors open, and Venkman peeks out into the hall. He steps out curiously, followed by the others. A bellboy comes around the corner behind them, pushing a room service cart loaded with dirty dishes. Stans hears the rattle of the dishes behind him, whirls and fires a stream of protons from his wand. Spengler is so keyed up, he too spins and fires wildly. The bellboy ducks as the particle streams blow the dishes off the cart and scorch holes in the wall behind him.
Ceasefire.
Sorry, buddy.
We better adjust our streams.
The Ghostbusters enter room 1210 and start taking readings.
Something was definitely here.
Yeah, I can smell it.
Oh, sorry. I'm getting high readings near the air vents. It must be using the duct system to get around. See, I told you we'd get something.
So far, all we got is a shit smell on the 12th floor, and we almost fried a Puerto Rican bellboy.
Right. Let's cool the negative vibes. These things can sense them.
The interior of the corridor. Spengler makes his way down the hall, reading valances at the door to each room. He knocks on one of the doors, then passes his sensor over to the top of the door and down the jambs. Then gets on his knees to read the crack at the bottom of the door. Suddenly, the door opens and he looks up to see a really stunning woman wrapped in a bath towel with another towel twisted turban style around her wet hair. Yes?
Yes?
Were you recently in the bathroom?
What on earth gave you that idea?
The wet towels, residual moisture on your lower limbs and hair, the redness in your cheeks indicating.
You're a regular Sherlock Holmes. Now, what do you want?
When you were in the bathroom, did you notice anything that was yellow and unusually smelly?
She slams the door in his face. Interior of another corridor. Stans moves down the hall, checking PKE balances. The needle jumps into the red. He alerts Spangler through the walkie-talkie.
Egon, I got something. I'm moving.
He turns the corner at the end of the hall. Suddenly, he sees the object and their search and freezes.
Ah!
The vapor is hunched over a room service cart loaded with dirty dishes. It hangs there, translucent, foul, yellow, feeding off table scraps and leftover beverages, knocking dishes off the cart, scattering refuse. It looks like a misshapen potato with a pushed-in face and spindly.
Ray, where are you? Are you all right?
God, it's ugly. I'm moving in. I don't think it's seen me yet. Ugh, what a slob. I'm gonna take him. Freeze, potato face!
It dodges Stans. First shot. The ion stream tears away 50 feet of wallpaper in a searing ricochet. Then the vapor flies off down the hall, pulling the room service cart along its wake. He chases it down the hall, shouting into his headset.
He's getting away!
They reach the end of the corridor, but instead of turning, it passes right through the solid wall. The room service cart crashes into the wall, smashing dishes and sending the debris flying. In another hotel room, a man is just pulling the plastic bag off his recently dry-cleaned white dinner jacket when the noxious vapor comes shooting through the wall. It blows right over him with a great rush of stinking wind and exits through the air vent. He looks at the air vent, then back at his dinner jacket, which has turned several shades of sickly yellow and brown. Venkman is alone in a long hallway. He leans against the wall, clearly not taking any of this seriously. He hauls on a cigarette and mutters to himself.
This bites it. I actually work for a company called Ghostbusters.
Suddenly, from the end of the hallway comes the sound of rattling dishes and silverware, accompanied by footsteps. Venkman's PKE meter beeps, and a red light winks on.
Ray, something's here.
Where are you, Pete?
3rd floor. Get down here.
Sit tight. I'm on my way.
Hurry up. The needle's going wild.
Another room service cart sails past along a perpendicular hallway and rolls out of sight. Then immediately behind it comes a reeking yellow haze. It is the vapor. It doesn't follow the cart, but instead makes the turn at the end of the hall and hovers there, apparently looking at Venkman.
It's here, Ray. It's looking at me.
Don't move. It won't hurt you.
How do you know?
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Well, I think you guessed wrong. Here he comes. Ah! Oh, God, it slimed me. It slimed me.
Suddenly, Spangler's voice crackles over the communicator.
Great, it's here. It just went into the banquet room on the 3rd floor.
In the banquet room, the Ghostbusters enter a large dark room with a high, ornately corniced ceiling and a crystal chandelier hanging in the center.
Eyes down. Full stream.
They scan the room. He pursues the room but sees nothing. He looks up and scans the ceiling. A form flits behind a carved beam.
There, on the ceiling. Come on down here, you slug.
On the ceiling, the vapor dodges as the beam blasts a sizable chunk of plaster out of the ceiling and destroys half the crystal chandelier. He fires, wasting the rest of the chandelier, but the vapor dodges away. They are both ready to start blazing away again when Spengler stops them.
Wait, there's something I forgot to tell you.
What?
Don't cross the beams.
Why not?
Trust me, it will be bad.
What do you mean bad?
It's hard to explain, but try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and finding yourself confined forever in another dimension.
That's it. I'm taking charge. You guys are dangerous. Now, nobody does anything unless I order you to, okay? Let's do it. This thing's not going to hang around all day waiting for us. Ray, give me one stream wide, right a bit. I'll go wide left now.
They trigger their throwers and 2 streams are emitted, shooting off the either side of the entity. The entity swirls, but stays between the beams.
Good, good. Nice and wide. Move with him. Easy. Hold steady.
It bobs and weaves, trying to slip past the visible lines of light, but Venkman and Stans manage to keep it boxed in.
Very slowly, Ray. Let's tighten it up. You hold steady. I'm coming down.
They close the distance between their streams.
Don't cross them. Watch it.
The vapor is trying to dodge the streams, causing him to waver on Venkman's as Venkman's streams get closer and closer.
Hang with a little help. Cut him off.
Spengler fires with such poor marksmanship that he comes only centimeters from crossing Venkman's stream. Venkman jerks away to avoid crossing Spengler's erratic bursts and maneuvers. Together, they do extensive damage to the walls, the interior of the corridor. The hotel manager and maintenance man look nervously at each other as they hear the sound and heavy property damage coming from the banquet room.
I'll nudge it out of the corner. You cut off the left side.
You got it. That's good. Easy now.
It's
Not the vapor around.
It's working.
Easy. I'm going to throw into my trap now.
Spengler jerks his leg up, triggering a release on his equipment belt. A cord and foot pedal fall to the floor. At the end of the cord is a long, flat black metal box 2 feet away, 4 inches wide and 2 high. He kicks the box under the apparition and toes the foot pedal into position. The apparition blasts them from a flatulent gust. They recoil but hold the configuration.
Easy. Open the trap now.
That was my special effect.
Yes. Hey, Mark, this is your big scene. Stans and Venkman herd the vapor to the top of the trap.
Watch it. Now.
Suddenly, there is a loud double electronic snap and a blinding flash of pink light. Wisps of brown smoke and carbonized particles raise to the ceiling in a large residual puff. The Ghostbusters stand there for a long moment, not quite sure the battle is over.
Stop.
He's in here.
He cautiously approaches. They whoop in triumph and considerable relief.
Well, that wasn't so bad, was it?
Are you kidding? That was like trying to push smoke into a bottle with a baseball bat. Now what do we do with it? We'll have to work on that. Grab that, would you, Ray?
They exit. The elevator opens and the Ghostbusters emerge. Stans holds the trap and it by its foot pedal. He dangles it away from his body as if it is something putrid. The hotel manager approaches them.
What happened? Did you see it? What is it?
We got it.
What was it? Will there be any more of them?
Sir, what you had there was what we referred to as a focused, non-terminal repeating phantasm or a class 5 full roaming vapor. A real nasty one, too.
Yeah, so that's going to be $4,000 for the entrapment plus $1,000 for proton recharge and storage.
$5,000? I would pay it. I had no idea it would be so much.
All right, that's fine. We'll let it go again. Ray, bring it on back.
Oh, no. Oh, all right. Anyway.
Oh, Jack got silent.
Jackie there?
somehow.
Jackie.
It's on mute.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now.
There
we
you
go,
are.
The Ghostbusters come through the revolving doors and see a real mob scene on the street. A large crowd has gathered around the Ectomobile, and the police have put up a barricade to hold them back. Photographers are taking pictures of it, and several reporters are there waiting for them. As the Ghostbusters cross the vehicle, people in the crowd cheer, and the reporters start firing questions at them.
Nick Cohen, I'm with the Post. What happened in there?
Did you really see a ghost?
Is
Is this some kind of stunt?
We got one.
Can we see it?
I'm afraid not.
This is not a sideshow. We're serious scientists.
What proof do you have that what you saw was real?
Proof? Well, the manager of the Sedgwick just paid us 5 big ones to get something out of there. Is that real enough for you?
Are you saying that ghosts are real? They really exist?
Not only do they exist, they're all over the place. And that's why we're offering this vitally important service to people in the whole tri-state area. We're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We have the tools and we have the talent. No job too small, no fee too big. We're ready for anything.
Spengler is confused by all the commotion and the barrage of questions from the press. A street punk in the crowd behind the police barricades keeps hissing at him.
Mister! Hey, mister! Come here. Mister! Hey, mister, can I see those guns?
They're not guns, they're particle throwers.
Yeah. I just want to see them.
I couldn't do that. You might hurt someone.
Wait. Let me ask you something. If you shot Superman with those guns, would he feel it or what?
On Earth, no. But on Krypton, we could slice him up like Oscar Mayer bologna.
Sing the song from your commercial.
You to field questions. Sorry, where are we, guys?
That's fine, yeah. Yeah, sing the song from your commercial.
Let's see.
Clinton,
Why
you
is
got
Jack
this?
muted again? Jack got muted.
Okay.
Jack, you're on mute.
Jack, you're on mute. No, we have to get back and.
Sorry, I've got people distracting me here. I'm sorry. Where are we? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, the minicam reporter. Come on, it's free advertising.
I'm sorry.
There's a thought. Hit it, Ray.
Ghostbusters. If you have a ghost, but you don't want to play a host. That can be bad house
guests and all night
pests.
You can't sleep at all. So who do you call? Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Why did they cut that?
Yeah, what? It's like
Thank God they changed that.
Wrote a better song or something.
Jackie, there?
Neighborhood.
Who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters.
The exterior of Chino City at day, the Ectomobile pulls up to a Gothic apartment building in the complex. The Ghostbusters jump out and hurry into the lobby. A policeman, he notices the Ectomobile is illegally parked and walks over to the gawk at the old vehicle. As the policeman approaches and sets a double antenna on the roof are automatically activated, they rotate and tilt to the point at the policeman. The policeman is a little unnerved by the antenna and starts to walk around the car. But the antenna follows him with unerring accuracy. Eager to get away from the vehicle, he quickly writes a parking ticket and sticks it under the windshield wiper. As the policeman withdraws his hand, the ticket heats up, bursts into flame, and burns up. He stares at the ashes for a moment, then slowly backs away from the car. Stans is driving. Spengler and Venkman are asleep. They all look completely exhausted.
We want to be Joe Franklin.
The Joe
I'll be
Franklin
Joe.
Show.
Ray,
Joe
every-
Franklin,
Ray,
Ray,
every-
every time I hear your company, I can't help thinking about the old Bob Hope movie.
Actually, Joe, the title of that film was Ghost Breakers. And Olsen and Johnson did one called Ghost Catchers. And the Bowery Boys did Ghost Chasers, Hold That Ghost, Spooks Run Wild, Spookbusters, and Spook Chasers.
Well, in any case, I guess there's one big question on everybody's mind, and you're certainly in the position to answer that for us. Have you seen Elvis, and how is he?
Who wants to be Larry King?
Yeah.
I can be Larry King. Our phone-in topic today, ghosts and ghostbusting. The controversy builds as more sightings are reported, and some maintain that these professional paranormal eliminators in New York are the cause of it all. Why did everything start just when these guys got into business? Should they be allowed to carry on around with unlicensed proton mass drivers? And what's wrong with ghosts anyways? Call us. All our lines open. Hello, Larry King. Female caller.
Hello, Larry. I think what Dr. Spengler said in his interview with you last night was true. The world is in for a psychic shock because, like, my aunt reads coffee grounds and she.
Venkman and Dana. She was surprised but pleased to see him.
Great rehearsal.
You heard it?
Yeah, you're the best one in your row.
Most people can't hear me with the whole orchestra playing. You're good.
I don't have to take abuse from you. I have other people dying to give it to me.
I know, you're quite the celebrity these days. Are you here because you have info about my case?
The Stiff.
The Stiff happens to be one of the finest musicians in the world and a wonderful man.
Is he dying or something?
He's a very close friend. Do you have some explanation of what happened in my apartment?
Yes, but I have to tell you in private at a fine restaurant.
Can't you tell me now?
All right, I'll cancel the reservation. I found the name Zool in the Royland's Guide to Secret Societies and Sex. I don't suppose you've read it.
You must have gotten the last copy.
Well, the name Zool refers to a demigod worshipped around 6000 BC by the, what's that say?
Hittites, the Mesopotamians, and the Sumerians. Zool was the minion of Gozer.
Gozer. He was very big in the Sumerian religion, one of their gods.
What's he doing in my refrigerator?
I'm checking on that. I think we should meet Thursday night at 9-ish to talk about it.
I don't think so. I'm busy Thursday night.
You think I enjoy giving up my evenings to spend time with clients? I'm making an exception because I respect you as an artist and as a dresser.
All right, since you put it that way.
I'll pick you up at your place. I'll bring on the Royland's Guide. We can read after we eat.
I've got to go now.
Remember, I'm the only one standing between you and a heavy Hittite. Pick you up at your place.
Who is that?
He's an old professor of mine.
Really?
Yes, he's smarter than he looks.
The interior of the reception hall at day. Janine is handling a steady barrage of phone calls, switching from one line to the other. Winston Zeddemore, a large, impressive-looking black man, sits across from her, filling out a job application.
Ghostbusters, please hold. Good afternoon, Ghostbusters, please hold. Yes, can I help you? Yes, it's just a mist. Or does it have arms and legs? Well, the soonest we could possibly get to you would be a week from Friday. I'm sorry, but we're completely booked until then. Well, all I can suggest is that you stay out of your house until we get to you. Thank you.
Let me ask you something. The ad in the paper just said help wanted. What's the job?
I really don't know, Mr. Zedmore. They just told me to take applications and ask you these questions. Do you believe in UFOs, astral projection, mental telepathy, ESP, clairvoyance, spirit photography, full trance mediums, telekinetic movement, black and or white magic, the theory of Atlantis, the Loch Ness monster, and any general and spooks, specters, rats, geists, and ghosts?
Not really. However, if there's a semi-regular paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say.
The exterior of the fire hall at the same time. A gaggle of autograph hounds is waiting on the street as Ecto-1 pulls in. The front of the building now bears a big neon sign with the Ghostbusters logo on it. Venkman and Stans disembark. They carry a couple of traps apiece. Their jumpsuits are covered with smoldering Ecto slime. The Ectomobile looks like it's been through a war.
Boy, was that a rough one.
I can't take much more of this. The pace is killing me.
Venkman enters and crosses to Janine and drops a paid invoice on her desk.
Here's the paper on the Brooklyn job. Did you pay with a Visa card?
Here are tonight's calls.
Oh no. 2 more free roaming repeaters.
And this is Winston Zeddemore. He came about the job.
Hi, Ray Stantz. Pete Venkman.
And someone from the EPA is here to see you.
The EPA, what's he want?
I didn't ask him. All I know is that I haven't had a break in 2 weeks, and you promised you'd hire some more help.
Janine, I'm sure a woman with your qualifications would have no trouble finding a top flight job in the housekeeping or food service industry.
Oh, really? Well, I've got better jobs. I've quit better jobs than this one, believe me.
Stan scans Winston's resume, ignoring the flare-up between Janine and Venkman. They start downstairs to the storage facility.
Ooh, very impressive resume. Electronic countermeasures, strategic air command, black belt in karate, small arms expert. Mr. Zeddemore, as you may have heard, we locate ghosts and spirits, trap them with streams of concentrated quantum energy, and remove them from people's homes, offices, and places of worship.
Yeah, I heard that. Now, tell me what you really do.
In the interior of the office, the walls are plastered with newspaper and magazine stories on the Ghostbusters. Walter Peck, Jr. EPA Administrator, is reading one of the articles when Venkman walks in.
Can I help you?
I'm Walter Peck. I represent Environmental Protection Agency, 3rd District.
Great, how's it going?
Are you Peter Venkman?
Yes, I'm Dr. Venkman.
Exactly what are you a doctor of, Mr. Venkman?
Well, I have PhDs in psychology and parapsychology.
I see. And now you catch ghosts.
You could say that.
How many ghosts have you caught, Mr. Venkman?
I'm not at liberty to say.
And where do you put these ghosts once you catch them?
In a storage facility.
And would the storage facility be located on these premises?
Yes, it would.
And may I see this storage facility?
No, you may not.
And why not, Mr. Venkman?
Because you didn't say the magic word.
And what is the magic word, Mr. Venkman?
The magic word is please.
May I please see the storage facility?
Why do you want to see it?
Well, because I'm curious. I want to know more about what you do here. Frankly, there have been a lot of wild stories in the media, and we want to access any possible environmental impact from your operation. For instance, the storage of noxious, possibly hazardous waste materials in your basement. Now, either you show me what's down there, or I can come back with a court order.
Yeah, go ahead and get a court order, but I'm going to sue your ass off for wrongful prosecution.
Have it your way, Mr. Venkman.
Hey, make yourself useful. Go save a tree.
Interior of the fire hall basement. Spengler is at work, is at the workbench preparing a damaged proton pack. The place is a mess with equipment, work orders, parts, catalogs, and old lunches piled everywhere. Half the room has been sealed off from the floor to the ceiling with concrete blocks to form a storage facility for captured spirits. Winston is standing at a viewing slit staring into the storage facility. He inserts a trap into a metal-lined slot in the wall of the storage facility as Spengler crosses to a control console to assist him.
Set entry grid.
Neutronize. System shut.
Stans withdraws the trap and tosses it into a bin marked for recharge.
I gotta sleep.
I need 2 new purge valves. How's the grid around the storage facility holding up?
I'm worried, Ray. It's getting crowded in there, and all my recent data points to something big on the bottom.
What do you mean big?
Well, let's say this Twinkie represents the normal amount of psychokinetic energy in the New York area. According to this morning's PKE sample, the current level in the city would be a Twinkie 35 feet long, weighing approximately 600 pounds.
Does big Twinkie.
We could be on the verge of a 4-fold crossover, or worse. If what we're seeing indicates a massive PKE surge, we could experience an actual rip.
Egon, how's the grid around the storage facility holding up?
It's not good, Pete.
Tell him about the Twinkie.
What about the Twinkie? I can't look anymore. It's too depressing.
We zoom in on a monitor and get our first real look inside the storage facility. It is a bleak repository for souls of many species. Strange lights, mists, and spectral shapes waft about aimlessly. Was this in the movie?
No, a lot of this is not in the movie.
This would have been super cool.
Yeah. It's kind of depressing, yeah.
They had no money for this thing.
Yeah, I mean,
No time. They
No
spent it
time.
all
Yeah.
on the
know what it
tour
looked
dogs.
like in there.
yeah. It is a sad and frightening limbo and a most unholy makeshift asylum. Interesting. Oh, that would have been so cool.
They just want to end it on the Twinkie line.
Yeah.
They let us use Twinkie?
The exterior of the Manhattan skyline, a mysterious cloud takes shape and hovers over Dana's apartment building. Then a strange glow starts to radiate from the temple-like structure of the roof. The moon shines through the odd cloud configuration, illuminating the ornate temple door with its 2 stone terror dogs posed rampant on either side of the portal. Its hideous stone features are bathed in moonlight. The camera pans down its grotesque body to one of its claws. Suddenly, there is a hiss, an audible crack of disintegrating mortar as one of its stone talons come to life. The stone figure opens its eyes, revealing glowing red pupils beneath the scaly lids. Dana gets off the elevator and immediately hears loud music blasting from Louis' apartment. As he's in full swing, she tiptoes past his door, but despite the loudness of the music, Louis somehow senses her presence and comes rushing out of the hall.
Oh, Dana, it's you.
Hi, Louie.
Hey, it's crazy in here. You're missing a classic party.
Well, actually, Louie, I have a friend coming by.
Great, bring her too. But you better hurry. I made nachos with non-fat cheese and they're almost gone. I'll make some more though.
Fine, Louie. We'll stop by for a drink.
I got the Twister game for later.
Oh.
Dana closes the door, leaving Louis alone in the hall, once again locked out of his apartment.
Hey, let me in.
In Dana's apartment, she enters and takes off her coat. She's wearing appears to be really tired. She sits down in an overstuffed chair and takes off her leg. Yes, this was the 80s. Then leans back and closes her eyes. It is very quiet. Something dreadful is about to happen. Then it happens. The phone rings so loudly it makes Dana jump. She picks it up.
Hello? Oh, hi, Mom. Yes, everything's fine. No. Nothing. Just that one time. I am. I will. Mother, I'm all right. I told you, everything's fine. All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I promise. Bye.
An eerie light is seen coming through the cracks around the door. She sits up in surprise and looks at the kitchen.
Oh, shit.
She's...
Or Starbuck.
Pam's got the idea. She's cutting it out.
Jack, you have to read all of this. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
She starts to get up, but suddenly a pair of scaly, inhuman hands rips out of the chair cushion on either side of her and clutches her around the waist. She screams and tries to... Another pair of claws tears through upholstery and grabs her around the chest and neck, pinning her to the chair. As if drawn by a powerful force, the chair, with Dana in it, slides across the living room floor towards the kitchen. The whole door is now pulsing. It swings open, revealing a fiery chamber where the kitchen used to be. One of the terror dog creatures seen earlier in the fridge is standing there, waiting for Dana with outstretched claws. She screams as the chair propels her into the kitchen. Then the door swings shut. A bright flash shoots out from the center of the pyramid, lighting up the room of Dana's building. All is as it was before, except that both the stone terror dogs are ominously missing from the structure. Louis is playing the perfect host to his clients, a general cross-section of nerds and nerdettes. The music is much too loud, and the guests are scattered about the living room in small groups, making dull conversation. He's emptying ashtrays and cleaning them with Windex. A tall woman approaches him.
Louis, do you have any
Go ahead.
Excedrin or extra strength Tylenol?
I have acetylsalicylic acid, but generic from Walgreens, because I can get 600 tablets for 35 cents, less than the cost of 300 name brand. Is it a headache?
Two stiff men are helping themselves. One is about to bite into some locks when Louis joins them.
That's Nova Scotia salmon, the real thing. It costs $24.95 a pound, but really $12.48 a pound net after tax. I'm writing this whole party off as a promotional expense. That's why I invited clients instead of friends. Try that brie. It's dynamite at room temperature. Maybe I should turn the heat up a bit.
Come on, Louis. Maybe if we dance, some other people will start. The doorbell rings. Louis bolts for the door, hoping it's Dana. It's another couple. Louis escorts them in and takes their coats.
Everybody, this is Ted and Annette Fleming. Ted has a small carpet cleaning business in receivership, but Annette is drawing a salary from a deferred bonus from 2 years ago. And the house is $15,000 left at 8%.
On the bed, standing up on all four legs, is a bristling painting, live terror dog. Too preoccupied to notice it, Louis reflexively tosses the coats onto the bed. They both land on the terror dog's head. Louis comes out of the bedroom and closes the door. Then, from within, there issues forth a tremendous roar that freezes the guests.
Okay, who brought the dog?
An instant later, the terror dog bursts right through the door. Wood chips and splinters shower the guests. They drop their drinks and canopies as the terror dog lands in the center of the room, snarling hellishly. It quickly scans the room, looking for Louis. He yelps and runs through. The dog lunges after Louis, but Louis gets out just in time and slams the door behind him. Louis tears off down the hall, following. The terror dog bursts through the door, lands in the hall, and runs after him. Louis ducks into the elevator. A doorman stands at his post near the revolving door. Two elegantly dressed visitors wait as he phones to announce them to one of the building residents. Suddenly, Louis comes running out of the door.
Help, help, somebody let loose a bear in the apartment.
How has he got animals up there? The doorman turns just in time to see the terror dog before it runs right over him and bounds across the street. Two bums stroll casually along, discussing current events.
I think you're right about Central America, but I completely disagree about the other thing. A good heavyweight boxer could take a karate guy every time.
Run, run.
Rush, rush, rush. This one's Speedy Mutt.
He's a big one. You don't want to mess with that particular breed.
Definitely some sort of fighting spaniel, I think.
Louis runs for his life, afraid to look back. He races through a tunnel, then sees the twinkling lights of the tavern on the green restaurant and heads straight for it. Louis comes tearing into the courtyard of the restaurant. Through the large picture windows, he can see well-dressed people sitting in the elegant dining room. He goes to the door into the dining room, but finds it locked. Then he tries another door, but it too is locked. Suddenly, he hears a low rumbling growl from the bushes. Desperate now, he starts pounding on the glass. The wealthy patrons look up and see Louis pounding on the glass, screaming unintelligibly.
Help! Help!
Louis' heart is pounding, his breath coming in compulsive gasps as he turns to face the relentless terror dog. The terror dog stands there silhouetted in the dark. Then it starts advancing toward Louis, casting giant shadows on the walls. He is paralyzed with fear.
Nice, doggy. Nice.
It pounds with a tremendous roar. The roar echoes through the restaurant. There is sound of a violent struggle. Then all is quiet. Nobody notices. Louis walks out of the park, walking quickly, with a glazed look in his eyes. He sees a horse and carriage parked at the curb. He goes right up to the horse and speaks to it, obviously possessed by the terror dog.
I am Vince Clortho, keymaster of Gozer, Volgan Zildror, lord of the Sebula. Are you the gatekeeper?
Hey, he pulls the wagon. I make the deals. You want to ride?
Are you the gatekeeper?
No, I'm the governor of New Jersey. Now get out of here.
You will perish in flames, sub-creature. Gozer will destroy you and your kind. Wait for the sign, then all prisoners will be released.
What an
The
a-hole.
park is screeching to a halt to avoid hitting Louis. On the street, 2 mounted policemen notice his strange behavior and follow him down the street. Dana's apartment building at night. Venkman enters dressed neatly in a suit, holding a bouquet of flowers for Dana. He sees 2 cops talking to disheveled party guests. He saddles up to one of the cops.
What's going on?
Some moron brought a cougar to a party and it went berserk.
Oh,
Venkman walks past Louis' apartment and curiously notes the splintered door. Then he rings Dana's bell, waits, and rings again, and knocks.
Dana.
The door opens and Dana is standing there, but she has changed radically from the woman we met earlier. Her hair is down, flowing loosely over her naked shoulders. Her eyes are wide and open, filled with a kind of love-slave longing. Her lips are parted and wet. Her clothes are seductively tattered. She stares at Venkman.
Hi. What happened to you? The cop downstairs said an animal got loose up here. What's the story? Are you all right?
Are you the keymaster?
Not that I know of. Hey, Dana, what is it? What happened?
I am Zool. I am the gatekeeper.
I think we better get out of here.
We must prepare for the coming of Gozer.
Okay, I'll help you. Should we make some dip or something?
He is the destructor.
Really? I can't wait to meet him. As long as we're waiting for him, I'd really like to try something with you in the bedroom.
In Dana's bedroom, they enter. Venkman steers her onto the bed.
Do you want this body?
Well, I'll just use it for a while and get right back to you.
Take me now.
Well, I make it a rule never to sleep with possessed people. Actually, it's more of a policy than a rule.
I want you inside me.
Oh my God.
I don't know. You've got 2 people in there already. It could get a little crowded. I want you to close your eyes and relax. Now I'm going to speak to Dana, and I want Dana to answer.
I am Zool. I am.
Right, you're the gatekeeper, but I want Dana. Dana, speak to me.
There is no Dana. I am Zool.
What a lovely singing voice you must have.
That's my favorite line of the movie.
All right, Zool, listen carefully. I don't know where you came from or why, but I want you to get out of here and leave Dana alone. I'm going to count to 10, and when I'm finished, you better be gone, okay? Here goes. 1, 2, 2.5, 3. Wow.
On the Hudson Parkway, an Ecto-1 speeds northwards. In the Ectomobile, Winston is at the wheel. Stans pops open a beer and lights a smoke. They both look completely wasted. Stans is looking over some blueprints.
Hey man, what is it with you? You're so involved with Bear.
Oh, these are blueprints of the structural ironwork in Dana Barrett's apartment building, and they're most unusual.
Are you a quickie, Ray?
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Boy, solid cores of shielded selenium. 0.325.
Do you believe in God?
No, but I liked Jesus' style.
Me too. Parts of the Bible were great.
The whole roof cap was fabricated with the magnesium tungsten alloy.
Ray, do you remember something in the Bible about a day when the dead would rise up from their graves?
And the seas would boil.
Right, and the sky would fall.
Judgment Day.
Yeah, Judgment Day.
Every ancient religion had its own myth about the end of the world.
Well, has it ever occurred to you that the reason you've been so busy lately is because the dead have been rising from the graves?
The exterior of the Fort Detmering at night. Ecto-1 pulls up to a pair of massive parapets and a hewn timber gate. I can't read tonight. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, man, it's a lot of description.
A lot of words.
And a thick redoubt of an escarpment high above the river. Two figures approach them from the shadows. As they draw closer, Stans and Winston see their Stetson hats and uniforms.
Evening. We've had a problem here for quite some time. I called your outfit a couple weeks ago.
Busy time of year.
Everybody likes to talk about this sort of thing.
You don't have to worry about that with us, sir.
Right, we'll believe anything.
Stans and Winston walk past a long line of cannons. Their visors are down. They wear the usual equipment.
You check the armory. I'll go down to the officers' barracks.
They split up. Winston takes a long, low passageway. Stans descends a set of stone stairs. They both leave frame. The sound of their separate footsteps fade. A police van has pulled up. The garage door opens and Spengler comes out of the building. He meets a police sergeant. They walk around to the back door of the van.
We picked up this guy, and now we don't know what to do with him. Bellevue doesn't want him, and I'm afraid to put him in the lockup. I'm telling you, there's something weird about him. And I know you guys are into this stuff, and so we figured we'd check with you.
In the police van, Louis is on the floor wearing a straitjacket. He is tied to the bench with leather restraint straps and ankle cuffs.
Are you the gatekeeper?
Bring him inside, officer.
In the basement, Louis is hooked up to a variety of strange contraptions, including something on his head that looks like an aluminum mixing bowl, wired with hundreds of electrodes. Spengler monitors Louis' reactions as he questions him. Janine watches.
I am Vince Glortho, Keymaster of Gozer.
I am Egon Spengler, creature of Earth, doctor of physics, graduate of MIT.
According to this, his name is Louis Tully.
Oh no, Tully is the flesh bag I'm using. I must wait inside for the sign.
You want some coffee while you're waiting?
Do I?
Yes, have some.
Yes, have some.
Vince, what sign are you waiting for?
Gozer, the traveler will come in one of the pre-chosen forms. During the rectification of the Voldrenale, the traveler came as a very large and moving torb. Then, of course, in the third reconciliation of the last of the Mechatrex supplicants, they chose a new form for him, that of Slor. Many Shubs and Zools knew that if it was to be roasted in the depths of the Slor that day, I can tell you.
Janine rolls her eyes at Spengler and mimes the traditional sign of lunacy by pointing at her temple and facing a circle with her index finger. The phone rings and Spengler answers it.
Hello?
Venkman is lying on the bed with the phone. Dana is asleep next to him, still floating 3 feet in the air with a blanket over her.
It's Peter, Egon. I've got a problem.
What is it?
I'm with Dana Barrett, and she's floating 3 feet off the bed.
Does she want to be?
I don't think so. It's more of the Gozer thing. She says she's the gatekeeper. Does that make any sense to you?
Some. I just met the keymaster. He's here with me now. Venkman, are you there?
Yeah. I was just thinking it probably wouldn't be a good idea for them to get together at this point.
I agree.
You have to keep him there. Do whatever you have to, but don't let him leave. He could be very dangerous.
Rory pours instant coffee crystals into his mouth and chews them up. Then he drinks a beaker of boiling water that's been heating out over the Bunsen burner.
All right, I'll try.
All right, I'll spend the night here and get back first thing in the morning.
All right, Peter. Good night.
Egon, there's something very strange about this man. I'm very psychic usually, and right now I have this terrible feeling that something awful is going to happen to you. I'm afraid you're going to die.
Die in what sense?
In the physical sense.
I don't care. I see us as tiny parts of a vast organism, like 2 bacteria living on a rotting speck of dust floating in an infinite void.
That's so romantic.
Oh. She hugs him. Spangler responds awkwardly, not sure where to put his hand. I wish they had kept Janine and Egon a couple like they
Yeah,
did.
watch Ghostbusters 2.
I hate it.
Oh.
I hate that.
Best lines ever.
It should have been Janine and Egon.
Excuse me, I'm trying to be awkward. You have nice clavicles. I wonder where Stan's is. I think we're going to need him.
Okay.
Dance is in a painstakingly restored period room with a 4-poster bed, writing table, and wardrobe hung with uniforms. His own jumpsuit and backpack lie in a heap beside the bed. He fingers an officer's uniform, then tries it on. He steps to a full-length mirror and models it, striking a few heroic poses. He shrugs, sits on the bed, bouncing the mattress and squeezing it. He then lies down full length and tests it, hands behind his head. He yawns. His eyes droop, blink, and finally close. His head lolls sideways. His mouth drops open slightly, and he drops off to sleep, exhausted. In the wardrobe, a uniform sleeve moves slightly. A saber in its sheath begins to tap against the
Oh, God.
Is this another deleted scene?
Yes.
Oh. Do you want me to read the whole thing, or do you want to cut to
Just
No,
get to the
read
BJ, man. I'm
Go,
just saying.
Jack, go.
Priorities.
It was very shortened in the movie. It was earlier, too.
A panel of light winks on. The needles on his PKE meter jump into the red. He rolls over. From inside the wardrobe, a shimmering pink mist rises up and begins to take form on the ceiling. The vaguest remnants of a human form take shape. It hovers and shifts as if appraising stands. He tosses and rolls onto his back, still deeply asleep. The mist slithers in through the curtains and takes a position above him. It begins to descend slowly.
Oh, gosh.
The mist widens and elongates and sprawls in suspension over his body. He wakes. The apparition is inches above his face. He gasps but can't move, totally transfixed with fear. His face is fixed with a lost
Fear.
soul. It is a beautiful feminine face. It presses in closer. He sucks in his breath. Is he being smothered? The gaunt figure then slides slowly away from his face and down to a spot below his waist. He props himself up on his elbows and looks down. Suddenly, the apparition vanishes. Then his belt comes undone as if pulled behind him to the end, and his zipper slowly opens. His looks change from fear to confusion to pleasure. He closes his eyes.
A Harlequin novel.
Guys, I'm just joking. This wasn't actually in the script. I just added this.
Damn it, George. Damn it.
You're
Great
a
job,
poet.
Jack. Great job.
Man.
Perfect.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
to the interior of the Barracks corridor. Vincent is smoking a cigarette, ambling down the Barracks corridor. He hears voices and walks to the door.
Barack is our old president.
Barack Obama.
The Barack.
Stan, you okay in there?
I miss him so much.
Later, man.
Oh man.
See those eyes cross.
The two cars pull up in front, a New York City police car and a lime green K car with U.S. government plates. They are followed by a Con Edison utilities van and a county sheriff's car. Peck gets out of the government car. Two cops step out and flank him. A police captain joins them, and they all enter the fire hall. Janine is at her desk when the law enters and walks right past her.
This way, Captain.
I beg your pardon. Where do you think you're going?
Step aside, miss, or I'll have you arrested for interfering with a police officer.
I beg you. Who do you think you're talking to, mister? Do I look like a child? You can't come in here without some kind of warrant or right or something. I watch television.
Seize and desist all commerce orders, seizure of premises and chattels, ban on the use of public utilities for non-licensed waste handlers, and a federal entry and inspection order.
This is just like Poland.
Basement, Spengler is arguing with Peck. Louis is sitting quietly in the corner, watching the argument with interest.
I want to see what's in there. Now, either you shut off those beings or we'll shut them off for you.
You can see what's inside through the monitor if you wish.
I am not interested in TV right now.
Venkman arrives in a taxi and sees the police cars parked outside and dashes in. The argument is still going on in the basement when Venkman enters.
Eddie's officers, I'm Peter Venkman. I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding here, and I want to cooperate in every way I can.
Forget it, Venkman. You had your chance to cooperate, but you thought it was more fun to insult me. Now it's my turn, smartass.
He wants to shut down the storage grid.
If you turn that thing off, we will not be responsible for the consequences.
On the contrary, you will be held completely responsible. Turn it off.
Don't do it. I'm warning you.
I've never seen anything like this before. I don't know.
Just do it. Just do it, fella. Nobody asked for your opinion.
My friend, don't be a jerk.
If he tries it again, shoot him.
Captain looks at Peck with content.
You do your job, pencil neck. Don't tell us to do ours. Thank you, officer.
Now turn it off.
Cops slacken their hold on Venkman. He looks at Spengler worried. Spengler, he mimes an explosion with his hands. He nods and backs down towards the door. Spengler gets the same thought. Louis sees Spengler backing away and starts to do the same. The Con Ed man turns all the switches to the off position. The panel lights go out. The needle indicator drops to 0. He feels the floor start to shake. They run like crazy for the stairs. Spengler grabs Janine on the way out. A strange light starts to leak through the cracks between the concrete blocks. Suddenly, one of the blocks is blown across the room. Everyone comes running out of the storage facility when the storage facility explodes. A powerful geyser of iridescent energy shoots out of the top of the building like a phenomenal Roman candle reaching 100 feet in the air. As the explosion rumbles in the distance, Dana's eyes pop open as if cued by the blast. Venkman, Spengler, and the others are dodging and ducking a shower of debris. Louis stands there, oblivious to the danger, looking up into the glowing geyser of energy. Janine is beside him.
It is time. This is the sign.
Yeah, it's a sign, all right. It's a sign we're going out of business.
A wide shot of the island shows the glistening geyser spurting high into the air. The iridescent cloud generated by the geyser starts moving across Manhattan toward Dana's apartment building. Sirens are screaming all over town as police cars, fire trucks, and emergency vehicles race to the scene. Fire trucks, police cars, Con Ed trucks, and general mob are assembled, watching the roof of the building, which is spurting a translucent blue substance. It looks like a massive natural gas flame. Bits of ecto material rain down on the onlookers. Flanked by police, he tries to answer questions from fire department officials and a hazardous chemical expert in a bulky decontamination suit.
Does it contain TCE, PCB, or tailings from styrene esters or any polyfluoric groups?
What are the pink particles? What will happen if we use water?
No water. There's nothing you can do.
Did you have any kind of solvents or any concentrated sulfurs of any kind?
The Ecto-1 pulls up. Winston and Stan jump out. Stan finds Venkman and Spengler.
What happened?
The storage facility blew. This one shut off the protection grid.
Where's the keymaster?
Oh, shit.
Who's the keymaster?
Stop them. I want them arrested, Captain. These men have been acting in criminal violation of the Environmental Protection Act, and this explosion was a direct result.
You turned off the power. Look, there was another man here. You have to find him and bring him back. A short, determined-looking guy with the eyes of a happy zombie.
See, they are using drugs.
If you don't shut up, I'm going to rip out your septum.
I don't know what's going on here, but I'm going to have to arrest you all. You can discuss it with the judge. I'm going to read your rights now, so please listen carefully.
Outside the Bowery, Louis walks briskly and purposefully uptown, gazing at the symmetrical lights in the sky. As Louis walks by, a huge crowd of people descends the stairs into the subway. The last of them disappears around the corner. Then echoing screams are heard, and the whole crowd comes charging back up the stairs, pursued by a strange apparition. In Dana's apartment, she is standing at the open door window, gazing down into the streets below. At the Sedgwick Hotel, a Sabret hot dog vendor is dispensing pretzels and hot dogs from his pushcart. As the vendor opens the top of the bin, and do you guys want me to read the whole thing?
Yeah.
It's up to you, man. Yeah, if you don't want to, it's fine. But yeah, I'm all down.
I'm down too.
The vendor opens the top of the bin and reaches in to get a bun. He feels around inside, knowing the cart should be loaded with food. Then he peers inside and yanks his arm without a shout. He falls in fear. The gluttonous, onion-headed vapor rises out of the pushcart stuffed with hot dogs, buns, and pretzels.
Ooh.
Belches loudly at the gaping specters, then flits down the street with the pushcart following under its own power. At the Exxon building, a well-dressed businessman comes rushing out and jumps into a cab parked at the curb. In the backseat, the businessman leans closely to the safety portion and shouts his destination.
Dolphin Weston building, and I'm in a hurry, so let's not dawdle.
Through the windshield, we see that the driver is a badly decomposed corpse in a leather jacket and snap-brim cap. Through the partition, he sees a skeletal hand reach out and start to meter. The cab peels away from the curb at tremendous speed and turns the wrong way up a one-way street. In an office, if anybody else,
I could take over.
A lot.
Interior and office, same time. It's the accounts department of a major corporation. Young men and women are working at typewriters and computer terminals in the sterile, modern office. A programmer. She bends over to the file cabinets and something gooses her. She looks around, miffed, but sees no one. She goes back to her desk. Her skirt hikes up suddenly. She yanks it back down. Then she feels a strange, not unpleasant tickling under her. She squirms. Her skirt goes up again. The tickling gets unbearable, forcing her to stand. She walks briskly between the rows of desks, trying to get up to the ladies' room, fighting to keep her skirt down. Her coworkers begin to notice and laugh. A typist. She stands up to look, and her blouse pops open. The office. All the women begin to scream and squirm as the invisible molester runs wild in the office. Exterior, Central Park, same time. Lewis enters a long, dark pedestrian tunnel. Inside the tunnel, a gang of muggers is smoking something in a weird pipe-like device. One of them sees the approaching silhouette of Lewis and hisses to his cohorts. Hiss. The others all look and slowly begin to fan out across the width of the tunnel. Lewis, he is staring straight ahead and entirely focused on his destination. As the muggers approach and confront him, he stops. They are deliberately blocking his path.
Okay, gimme.
Are you the gatekeeper?
Come on. You want me to stick you? Come on.
I am Vince Glortho. I am the keymaster. Do you bar my way?
You crazy man? You don't give me Gino's gonna rip you, man. Nobody gets by Gino.
Do you bar my way?
Yeah, we bar your way.
Lewis, his eyes widen. He inhales deeply, then opens his mouth and roars. Iridescent lights pour out of his mouth. The muggers, they scream and run, horrified and disgusted by Lewis's unearthly display. Exterior, street. The cab, driven by the corpse weaves through traffic at breakneck speed. Cars are forced up on the curb. Pedestrians run for safety. Interior, the back street. The businessman is reading the Wall Street Journal, oblivious to the whole situation. Exterior, St. Mark's Playhouse, day. A worn, graffiti-spattered $1.99 triple bill movie house in the New Wave district near 2nd Avenue. The bill reads, all night, all day horror show in 3D. Interior theater. This house is packed with hooting, jeering, beer drinking, pot smoking downtowners, all wearing cardboard 3D glasses. They're widely razzing and throwing things at the screen on which is running a bad 60s British horror indie pic. The film breaks. The sound crackles off and the lights come on. There's a storm of protests and abuse hurled at the projectionist. Then from all around them, there starts a thin, whistling whine. It builds about the shouts and jeers in the theater till everyone stops to hear what it is. It is like no other sound ever heard, a piercing, all permeating, shrilling whistle like the fan blades of some massive unseen turbine beginning to rotate. The lights in the theater flicker. The musty ancient curtains on either side of the screen are picked up, and in an unseen wind which lifts them, spreading dust and ripped old fabric about the house. There are shouts and sounds and noises from deep beyond the recesses of the backstage. The curtains are now flying in a serious wind. All the lights in the theater go out except that from the projection booth. From a point in the center of the screen, a searing bolt of phosphorescent light rips back along the projection beam into the booth. The beam evolves into an etheric strand of unified glistening particles. The wind dies down. People in the house are hushed. They gaze transfixed as a procession of phantasms emerge in single files through the illuminated screen. As if suspended on a clothesline, they weave and bounce along the length of the pulsating beam and pass through the hole in the projection booth. The apparition is gone. All is quiet. Then the audience bursts into wildly enthusiastic applause. Oh my God. Interior near PD lockup and is staring out through the bars, talking to himself.
We're gonna get 5 years for this. Plus, you're gonna make us retrap all those spooks. I knew I shouldn't have taken this job.
He bangs on the bars and crosses to Venkman, Stantz, and Spengler, who are huddled together looking at the blueprints of Dana's building. Look at the structure of the roof cap. It looks exactly like the kind of telemetry tracker NASA uses to identify dead pulsars in other galaxies.
And look at this, Peter. Cold riveted girders with selenium cores.
Venkman leans in to look, but suddenly notices that they have an audience. The cell. The Ghostbusters are surrounded by a motley assortment of bums, punks, hoods, and a particular mean-looking gang of bikers, all listening intently to their discussion.
Everybody with us so far?
The other prisoners mutter and scratch their heads, then drift off. The ironwork extends down through 50 feet of bedrock and touches the water table.
I guess they don't build them like they used to, huh?
No, nobody ever built them like this. The architect was either an authentic wacko or a certified genius. The whole building is like a huge antenna for pulling in and concentrating psychokinetic energy.
Who was the architect?
He's listed on the blueprints as I. Shander.
Of course. Ivo Shander. I saw his name in Tobin's Spirit Guide. He started a secret society in 1920.
Let me guess. Gozer worshippers.
Yes. After the First World War, Shander decided that society was too sick to survive, and he wasn't alone. He had close to 1,000 followers when he died. They conducted bizarre rituals, intended to bring about the end of the world.
She said he was the destructor.
Who?
Gozer.
You talked to Gozer?
Get a grip on yourself, Egon. I talked to Dana Barrett, and she referred to Gozer as the destructor.
See? I told you something big was about to happen.
This is insane. You actually believe that some moldy Babylonian god is going to drop in at 78 in Central Park West and start tearing up the city?
Sumerian, not Babylonian.
Winston shakes his head. Then a uniformed guard appears with a high-ranking police official and unlocks the cell door.
Are you the Ghostbusters?
Yeah, what about it?
Mayor wants to see you right away. Whole island is going crazy. Let's go.
They exit. Exterior, City Hall. The official cars arrive, and the Ghostbusters are hustled past a mob of reporters, all shouting questions at once.
Are you under arrest?
Harassed? Did you have a bomb factory? It's supposed to be.
Factory.
Yeah, well, who's in there?
Please
What's
go.
going on? Hey, what?
Ghostbusters.
Tell us.
Interior Mayor's office. Secretaries and aides scurry about in a chaos of telephones and waiting city officials. As the Ghostbusters are led through the outer offices, everyone stops what they're doing to stare at them. Interior office of the Mayor of New York City. The Ghostbusters enter and see a very concerned group of leaders arguing like crazy. The police and fire commissioners, state and city police commandants, the Archbishop of the New York Diocese, the regional director of the Environmental Protection Agency, the governor of the state of New York, and various other high-ranking officials.
The Ghostbusters are here, Mr. Mayor.
At once, the group turns and instantly regains perfect decorum. The mayor, he is a likable Democrat and a man of the people, particularly the Irish, Italian, and Jewish people.
Okay, the Ghostbusters. Who's Peck?
I'm Walter Peck, sir, and I'm prepared to make a full report. These men are complete snowball artists. They use nerve and sense gases to induce hallucinations. The people think they're seeing ghosts and call these bozos who can really show up to get rid of the problem with a fake electronic light show.
Using nerve gas?
This man is a psychopath, Your Honor.
Probably a mixture of gases, no doubt stolen from the army.
Bullshit.
Improperly stored and touched off with those high voltage laser beams they use in their light show. They cause an explosion.
All I know is that wasn't a light show we saw this morning. I've seen every form of combustion known to man, but this beats me.
And nobody's using nerve gas at all on the people that have seen those things all over the city. The walls are bleeding at the 53rd precinct. How to explain that?
Oh.
Yes.
Can I do this one?
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Officially, the church will not take a position on the religious implications of these phenomena. However, since they started, people have been lining up at every church in the city to confess and take communion. We've had to put on extra priests. Personally, I think it's a sign from God, but don't quote me on that.
I can't call a press conference and tell everyone to start praying.
I'm Winston Zeddemore, Your Honor. I've only known the company for a couple of weeks, but I gotta tell you, these things are real. Since I joined these men, I've seen shit that will turn you white.
That's a good one.
So what do I do now?
Mr. Mayor, it's a pretty simple choice. You can believe Mr. Pecker here,
That's Peck.
or you can accept the fact that this city is headed for a disaster of biblical proportions.
What do you mean, biblical?
Old Testament, Mr. Mayor, wrath of God type stuff. The seas could boil, fire and brimstone falling from the sky.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, mass hysteria, human sacrifice.
Enough.
COVID.
Point. But what if you're wrong?
If I'm wrong, then nothing happens and you toss us in the can. But if I'm right, and if we can stop this thing, let's just say that you could save the lives of millions of registered voters.
I don't believe you're seriously considering listening to these men.
Get Peck out of here. We've got a lot of work to do. What do you need from me?
Exterior, Dana's apartment building, same time. Lewis arrives in front of the building and looks up. Strange lights are beginning to flash from the windows. He enters the building, and a moment later, a huge tremor shakes the structure. Interior, Dana's floor. The elevator doors open and Lewis gets out. A crowd of tenants rushes out the elevator, clutching their most prized possessions. He gets through the panicked tenants and walks down the hall. Mrs. Blum, a neighbor, comes out of her apartment carrying an armload of small appliances.
Lewis, what are you doing standing there? Get out of the building. Don't you know it's an earthquake or something?
The traveler is coming.
Don't be crazy. Nobody is going to come and visit you with all of this commotion going on.
She rushes off, leaving Lewis alone in the hall. He goes to Dana's door and mechanically knocks 3 times. His knocking echoes thunderously throughout the building. The door. It opens and Lewis sees Dana standing there. A tremendous thunderclap roused the building.
Are you the gatekeeper?
I am Zool.
Hearing that, Lewis grabs Dana with a passion that's been building in his unconscious for 8,000 years. He kisses her with savage lust and pulls her to the floor out of frame as an explosion force blows through the apartment. Interior, City Hall corridor. Venkman, Stance, and the mayor walk briskly toward the vehicle dock as the back of the building. Aides scurry along behind them, awaiting instructions.
I don't understand it. Why here? Why now?
What goes around comes around, Mr. Mayor. The big lazy Susan of karma just keeps turning, and sometimes we get the short end of the stick.
This may be nature's way of telling us to slow down. Quarantine. You have to admit, it's kind of humbling, isn't it?
We're humble already. Hasn't the city suffered enough?
They come out onto the loading dock. Exterior loading dock. The ectomobile is parked there. Winston and Spengler are charging all the packs off the building current. There's a lot of police activity around them as orders are dispatched. A police captain reports to Venkman.
We've cleared the whole building and cordoned off the street. I'm massing our own special tactics squad, and the National Guard is on standby.
I better light the red crap too.
Good job. He looks up and sees Janine standing on the dock. He crosses to him.
I want you to have this.
What is it?
It's a souvenir from the 1964 World's Fair at Flushing Meadow. It's my lucky coin.
I don't believe in luck.
Keep it anyway. I have another one at home.
Thank you.
They hug. The ectomobile. Stance. Venkman and Winston get in. Spengler rushes over and joins them. Interior ectomobile. Venkman turns around and looks at his friends.
Okay, just remember whatever happens out there, we are total professionals. Not only are we the best Ghostbusters around, we're the only Ghostbusters around. Up to us.
They all shake hands, then Venkman sticks his hand out the window and signals like a cavalry officer.
Move them out.
All right, here we go. Exterior, rear of City Hall. A pair of police motorcycles comes roaring up the driveway, followed by the ectomobile and 2 police cruisers. The motorcade turns up the street and heads uptown at high speed. They pass a column of National Guard trucks. Exterior, Dana's apartment building. The street has been blocked off with police barricades, but a huge crowd is gathered nonetheless to watch the strange lights and flashes emanating from the upper floors of the building. The crowd, the news media are out in front filming and taping everything. A contingent of doomsday freaks is gathering with signs proclaiming, "Repent, for the end is at hand." A few Catholic priests are kneeling, performing rites of exorcism. The crowd, a gang of punks, is hanging around hoping for a disaster. A handful of Hasidic Jews behind them are wailing in earnest. The police work to restrain the crowd. The screaming of sirens turns the attention of the crowd as the motorcade arrives. As the ectomobile rounds the corner, a huge cheer goes up from the crowd. The punks cheer. The Hasidic Jews wave their black hats and start dancing for joy. It pulls up in front of the building. The doors fly open and the Ghostbusters all jump out at once. The crowd roars. They leap to their feet and give each other high fives. He raises both fists like a victorious boxer.
Oh, sorry. Ghostbusters.
The crowd thunders its approval. The Ghostbusters, they quickly finish suiting up at the rear of the ectomobile.
Are we all together on this now?
I think we should get on a plane right now, go to Australia or Indonesia until this blows over.
I'm going to make a note of your suggestion and possibly bring it up later if this thing really gets out of hand. Now let's move.
They start heading for the lobby entrance to the building.
Get him!
Get him, Ghostbusters!
Go get him.
The crowd applauds as the Ghostbusters approach the entrance. They stop in front of the building and look up the roof. A blinding flash of light shoots from the rooftop temple. The whole building seems to groan as if under enormous pressure. Then suddenly the concrete facade cracks open and the pavement in front of the building collapses, dropping the Ghostbusters and a police car into the enormous sinkhole. The crowd gasps.
Boom.
There is a tense moment of silence. Then the Ghostbusters pop up and climb out of the pit.
I've heard of underground parking, but this is ridiculous.
They flash the OK sign to the crowd and enter the building. Exterior, the rooftop, same time. Dana and Lewis emerge from the stairwell, approach the temple, and mount the pedestals once occupied by the terror dogs. The temple, the walls begin to vibrate in response. The street below, blinding beams of light flash from all the windows. Interior, stairwell. The Ghostbusters trudge up 35 flights of stairs. 35th floor hallway. The stairwell door opens and the Ghostbusters stagger into the hallway, completely exhausted.
I'm glad we took the stairs.
Interior, Dana's apartment. The Ghostbusters arrive. The door frame is charred and blackened by soot. Venkman rings the doorbell. Ding dong.
Dana,
Maybe we should go downstairs and call first.
Venkman knocks on the door and the door simply falls off its hinges and crashes to the floor. The Ghostbusters gape at the damage to the apartment. Interior, Dana's apartment. The exterior building wall is completely gone, providing an unobstructed view of the Hudson and New Jersey. All the furniture is overturned and the other walls are cracked. A powerful wind blows through the apartment, fluttering the shredded curtains.
Well, she's not here. Let's go.
oh, the kitchen.
The kitchen. The team enters and sees that the refrigerator has been blown away, revealing a hole in the wall and the entrance to a stone staircase behind it. Venkman looks at the forbidden portal and turns to Stance.
Go.
Stance realizes that Venkman expects him to go first. He leads the charge up the stairs. The roof. Dana and Lewis stare at the temple, then begin a miraculous and horrible transformation into the hideous forms of the terror dogs. The solid stone walls rumble ominously and start to separate. They come running out onto the roof and gape at the scene. The walls open, completely revealing the secret architecture of the temple. A stone staircase leading to a set of monumental doors, and beyond them a massive pyramid that appears to be suspended in midair with no visual means of support. They complete the transformation in stage 16 into the terror dogs, which now turn and snarl menacingly at the Ghostbusters. They can't believe their eyes.
I can't say this. Okay, so she's a dog.
The heavy rumbling of moving stone draws their attention back at the temple. The terror dogs have now taken ritual positions on the staircase. The heavy stone gates. Oh, that's it.
Nice.
Anne's got it. The stone gates begin to open and a bright white light starts to emerge. As the light descends, the stairs a human from slowly materializes. Is a thin, hollow-cheeked, distinguished-looking man in his early 60s. His eyes are burning red pinholes. He looks around at the spectacular rooftop view that acknowledges the two terror dogs and starts stroking them like house pets. The Ghostbusters, they stare at the apparition.
It's Shander, the architect.
I thought he died.
It doesn't seem to have slowed him down any.
I don't think it's Shander. Gozer the Gozerian? Gozer. He looks up and seems to notice the Ghostbusters for the first time. Stands. He busts Gozer. As a duly constituted representative of the city of New York, and on behalf of the county and state of New York, the United States of America, the planet Earth, and all its inhabitants, I hereby order you to cease and desist any and all supernatural activity and return at once to your place of origin or next parallel dimension.
Yeah, well, that ought to do it. Thanks very much, Ray.
Are you a god?
No.
Then die.
He raises his arms and blows away the Ghostbusters with searing bolts of energy. The Ghostbusters, momentarily stunned, they tumble all the way down the stairs and almost fall off the edge of the roof.
Ray, when someone asks if you are a ghost, you say, yes!
Ghostbusters leap into action. One by one, they activate their proton packs and take up positions for an entrapment. Gozer braces for the onslaught. Venkman shoots a particle stream at Gozer. He leaps out of the way with superhuman agility and executes a perfect double flip with a half-twisting round off at the end. He can't believe his eyes.
Agile bastard, isn't he?
Forget the trapping. Just blast him. The others adjust their units, and they all blaze away at Gozer. He stands there calmly and absorbs the force of the streams. There's a brilliant pink flash, and Gozer disappears. They stare for a long moment, finding it hard to believe that they won. Then Winston lets out a triumphant whoop. Spengler scans the temple with his PKE meter, not all convinced the danger has passed. Stance, he bounds up the stairs. We neutralized him. The guy's a molecular non-entity.
Miller time.
It's Miller.
Not necessarily.
There's a deep seismic rumble and the entire building begins to vibrate. The Ghostbusters look around nervously as the entire building starts to sway. Exterior, the eaves, cement carvings and moldings around the edge of the roof crack and break off. The crowd screams and runs as cement debris rains down the aisle, down the side of the building and crashes on the sidewalk. They look up at the sky, waiting for the big blow. An incredibly loud thunderclap rocks the rooftop. The sky, a bolt of lightning crackles from the swirling dark cloud and strikes the rooftop. The Ghostbusters stand there facing their new god like Moses on Mount Sinai. And then Gozer speaks to them in a voice that can be heard throughout metropolitan New York and parts of New Jersey.
Sub-creatures, Gozer the Gazarian, Gozer the Destructor. The traveler has come. Choose and perish.
Talking to us.
What is he talking about? Choose what?
What do you mean choose? We don't understand.
Choose.
I think he's saying that since we're about to be sacrificed anyway, we get to choose the form we want to take him in.
You mean, if I stand here and concentrate on the image of Roberto Clemente, Gozer will appear as Roberto Clemente and wipe us all out?
That appears to be the case.
Don't think of anything. Clear your minds. We only get one crack at this.
The choice is made. The traveler has come.
Hey, we didn't choose anything. I didn't think of anything. Did you?
No.
My mind was totally blank.
I couldn't help it. It just popped in there.
What? What just popped in there?
Look. They all turn and look to the south. Ghostbusters POV. Looking south past Columbus Circle, they see part of something big and white moving between the buildings, accompanied by thunderous footsteps of almost seismic proportions. Venkman, he doesn't know what it is yet, but he knows it's coming.
What is it? What did you do, Ray?
The massive white shape passes behind some buildings, offering a glimpse of what appears to be a fat white arm. He's about to go into shock. It can't be. It can't be. Columbus Circle, the thundering footsteps continue to plod at the thing as the thing starts to emerge from behind the buildings. Now he can see part of a blue garment covering its enormous chest. He recognizes the monster. It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. They look across the rooftops and see a large, square, white bobbing, laughing head atop a massive body of similar puff white squares. The being is dressed in a tiny sailor's hat, red buttons, whistle, and lanyard, and a little blue vest with a button undown in the middle, revealing a little white belly. It is the cute, quintessential American brand symbol looming as large Godzilla. I tried to think of the most harmless thing. Something that can never destroy us. Something that I loved as a child.
And you came up with that?
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He was on all the packages we used to buy when I was a kid. We used to roast the puff marshmallows at Camp Wakanda.
Well, great. The marshmallows are about to get their revenge.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. He plods relentlessly uptown toward the Ghostbusters rooftop vantage point. The ground rumbles as his big, soft feet come down on the pavement. People are fleeing in panic as the marshmallow feet paddle on, kicking over lampposts and mailboxes. The driver of a car jumps out just before an enormous white marshmallow foot comes down and flattens his automobile. The Ghostbusters, they stand there, helplessly watching the laughing, bobbing head of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man as he comes toward them.
What now?
Full stream with Strogon Pulse.
I guess that's all we've got.
They step to the edge of the roof, moving like warriors now, ready to face the consequences. Exterior street. Peck comes running up to the front of the apartment building. People are fleeing the oncoming monster. Peck grabs a cop who is just about to flee himself.
Are the Ghostbusters up there?
Yeah.
I want you to go up on roof and arrest them. This time they've gone too far.
You arrest them, numbnuts! I'm getting out of here!
He runs off. Peck turns to face the monster, the Stay Puft Man. The ground shakes with every step as he reaches the building. Then, using the church next door as a stepping stone, he begins climbing the wall.
No one
They look
steps on
over-
a church in my town. Sorry.
That's good. He bellows with pain and rage as the beams strike him right in the chest and set his skin on fire. He begins to burn with a blue flame that spreads quickly across his torso and down his arms. The Stay Puft Man bellows even louder. Finally, in its arms in response to the searing flames that are starting to engulf him. The Ghostbusters stare at the horrible conflagration.
Good, now we made him mad.
Carbonous, flaming hunks of melting marshmallow are flying from his arms as he waves them in wild rage. Peck stands there, paralyzed with fear. A massive flaming marshmallow falls and flattens a newsstand nearby. Then a huge glob of sticky, toasted marshmallow comes zipping down from above and lands right on him, burying him up to his neck in melted sucrose. The flaming monster keeps coming intent on their destruction. Most of his chest is melted away, revealing horrid musculature and a skeletal rib cage. That would have been. That was terrifying. That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
They square off and face him for the last time, their weapons poised.
We're gonna be killed by a 100-foot marshmallow.
He's almost on them now, fully engulfed in flames, reaching for them, ready to swat them with his burning fist.
All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2.
No, them. Shoot them. Cross the beams.
They stand beside the portal, literally petrified. Venkman, he hesitates.
No, you said crossing the streams would be bad. It'll kill her and us.
Life is just a state of mind.
But it's my favorite state.
Either way, we're history. The Stay Puft Man, his burning fist is starting to descend on the Ghostbusters. Venkman chooses the only way out.
Now.
They turn and fire at the 2 petrified terror dogs and blow them to oblivion. The entire front of the temple is obliterated along with the door. With the destruction of his earthly portal, the flaming monster is suddenly engulfed in a cyclonic wind that begins to swirl around him like a firestorm. The flames are whipped higher and higher, and as the tornado begins to pick up rotational speed, then the Marshmallow Man seems to explode from deep inside, creating a flaming air burst high above the rooftops. The Ghostbusters are blasted off their feet. The fireball reaches its maximum explosive force. Then a sudden jet of air pressure occurs like a Titanic vacuum cleaner in the sky and sucks the flaming mass of gases and ash up through our atmosphere and right out of our dimension. The dark clouds disappear with it, leaving a beautiful clear blue sky over the whole area. The temple, it now looks like an ancient ruin. They're lying at the front of the stairs. Everything is still. One by one, they get slowly to their feet and look around to see that the crisis has passed. Everybody okay? Venkman looks up to the portal. The terror dogs, they are still on the pedestals, but charred almost beyond recognition. Venkman mounts the stairs and gazes sadly at the remains. The pedestal. Venkman stands there mourning. Then a slight movement under the blackened skin of the terror dog catches his eye. The movement gets stronger. Then suddenly a human hand pokes through the carbonous coating. Hope surges in him, and he starts frantically tearing away the black coating, finally revealing Dana alive and well under the burnt skin of the terror dog. Stance and Spegler, they peel the charred coating off Lewis and help him off his feet. Lewis, he looks around wondering how he ended up on the roof of a wrecked high-rise. He looks at his scorched and ripped suit crusted with the still smoking gobs of melted marshmallow.
Geez, somebody must have spiked the egg salad.
Are you all right?
Oh, sure. I'm getting used to this.
I'm innocent. Honest, Dana. I never touched you. Not that I remember anyway.
All right. What happened to me?
Nothing. We just got rid of that thing in your kitchen.
Really? It's gone.
Yeah, along with most of your furniture and a lot of your personal possessions. This one took some work.
Thank you. Next time I want to break a lease, I'll know who to call.
This is going to cost you. Now our fees are ridiculously high.
Talk to my accountant.
Oh, great. I bet we could write off all the damage as an act of God.
I'll go along with that.
They should have kept that
They
in.
should
They
have kept
should
that.
have. That's a good line.
Exterior street near the apartment night, the two bums. They hear the cheering down the street as they cautiously inspect a massive mound of cooling sucrose.
Well, that definitely looks like marshmallow to me.
Yeah, it's some kind of marshmallow type substance, that's for sure.
You have to wonder why anybody would dump a marshmallow that size right in the middle of the street.
I wonder if there might not be a very large cup of hot chocolate somewhere in the
That would definitely explain it.
Happy throng of jubilant citizens is gathered outside the lobby entrances to the apartment building. The battered but victorious Ghostbusters emerge from the lobby. Venkman and Dana are holding hands. The crowd roars with unrestrained joy and gratitude. Janine runs over and hugs Spangler enthusiastically. The Ghostbusters wave and head for the ectomobile parked at the curb. They get into the ectomobile and drive off with lights flashing and sirens screaming as the crowd cheers widely.
Woo! Woo!
Yay!
Yeah. When there's something strange. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, turn it up.
A lot of them get it.
Woo!
I wonder if those two bums at the end were the guys from Trading Places.
Oh my
Would
god.
have been a great little
I
Easter egg.
think that
Crossover.
Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd were going to